Tonight on UCTV News, one UConn student demands UConn takes action when it comes to the mental health of students.
Plus, the UConn community prepares for Huskython.
And one UConn doctor makes strides in her field.
UCTV News starts right now. Good evening, and thanks for joining us. I'm Emily Carbali.
And I'm Dan Silva.
Multiple student organizations have spoken up, calling on the university to increase mental health services. One student in particular wrote a proposal for change.
Brittany Diaz, a pre-law political science major here at UConn, created the proposal because of her frustrations with the mental health department at the Hartford branch. The proposal was inspired by the suicide of UConn student Justin Nizrecki.
Her proposal focuses on raising the bar for student mental health services at all of UConn's campuses. It calls for an expansion into counseling and mental health service staff, hosting more frequent events, and advertising and creating a training module for on-campus faculty.
One UConn biomedical engineer has created bandages to help heal chronic wounds. These chronic and non-healing wounds cause devastating complications for diabetes and can even lead to limb amputation. A release by UConn Today explains how the minimally invasive needles can actually penetrate the skin with little pain. Developer Dr. Ali Tamayol called the device an important step in the engineering of advanced bandages.
A test of UConn's emergency communications is set for this Tuesday. UConn Alert will be holding the test on their notification and alerting systems at 12:25 p.m. on all campuses. The test involves multiple messaging platforms, a notice posted on the UConn Alert website, an email sent to students, faculty, and staff, and posts will appear on the UConn Twitter accounts. In an actual emergency, information will be updated regularly through the UConn Alert website.
Huskython is just 1 week away. UCTV's Julia Dowd has a look at Zumbathon, a fundraiser done in anticipation of the big day.
In just 2 weeks' time, students at the University of Connecticut will be gathering here to raise money for Connecticut Children's Medical Center. But today, they are warming up for the main event by having a 4-hour dance party, Zumbathon.
Over 200 dancers and volunteers filled the field house today in a final push to raise money for Connecticut hospitals. UConn senior and Huskython special events coordinator Annie Longo says it was an important day to raise money.
Zumbathon's probably the best established special event for Huskython besides the marathon itself.
Hosted by the Huskython management team, the fundraiser was led by Zumba instructors and UConn dancers. The event always attracts a crowd, though some may have ulterior motives.
I was looking for a great workout. Come support the kids.
Last year, students set a record when they raised $1.3 million. For some, the event is not only for a good cause, it's personal.
This year specifically, I'm dancing because one of my mom's coworkers' son is being treated currently at Connecticut Children's, and they're very close to my heart, and so is the hospital.
I was treated at Connecticut Children's as a child, so it means a lot to me. I was not one of the sick kids who comes to Huskython. I was very lucky, but that's because of the hospital.
At the end of the event, they raised over $1,200, which will be added to the grand total in 2 weeks.
Students will be back inside the field house for 18 whole hours for the main event on February 22nd. Reporting from Storrs, Connecticut, I'm Julia Dowd.
UConn students show no surprise to Bernie Sanders' victory in New Hampshire primaries this past week, beating out rival Pete Buttigieg by roughly 4,000 votes. Vice President of UConn's College of Democrats Club, Charles Perosino, agreed that the results were not shocking. He said Bernie had a real strong ground game in New Hampshire and ended up winning the 7 largest cities, as well as overwhelmingly with younger and non-white voters.
Truckers who drive the big rigs say Governor Lamont's toll plan is unfair. According to the Hartford Current, Governor Lamont and state legislators have battled each other over highway tolls, but have recently come to a conclusion: a trucks-only toll plan. The trucks drivers say that they are key players in the state's economy because of the goods that they are carrying to local supermarkets and retail stores. While truckers will initially be paying some of the freight, some of them say that the costs will inevitably be passed along to consumers.
ASL, it's how deaf people communicate, and it's about to be UConn's newest major. Details now from UCTV reporter Reagan Schiappa.
A language that is expanding worldwide has just taken a huge step here in Stores. UConn has become the first and only college in Connecticut to announce a major in American Sign Language.
The ASL department is a part of the College of Liberal Arts and Sciences. Before announcing the major, the department offered 2 minors, one in interpreting and one in ASL. They offer opportunities for those outside of the program as well.
So we had to go through several different processes to have that approved, to have the courses approved as a W course. After that, I made the proposal to our program CLAS. It received approval and then was moved on to the GEOC. Then it was sent to the Senate and finally to the Board of Trustees. It took about 2 years.
Since they have seen the program grow in interest, conversations about the major started and the 2-year process began, but not without any challenges.
The first challenge was we needed to figure out which classes were considered the W courses. At this point, we don't have enough teachers because of the desire.
ASL is one of 5 different communication modes deaf people use, but there is more to know than just understanding the language.
American Sign Language is how I communicate. And if people don't know American Sign Language, how can they communicate with me? But at the same time, deaf culture is also an important part of the language because it influences the language, whereas the language also influences the culture.
Since the announcement a month ago, the department has been overwhelmed by emails and phone calls by students interested in the major.
Yes, we are already seeing people making requests. We are seeing an increase in numbers. We have more and more students who want to take our courses. We're having to expand our sections because we have so many students who are requesting the course.
Students are able to declare the major in American Sign Language May 1st of 2020. For UCTV News, I'm Reagan Schiappa.
UConn researchers are working with the Waterbury Police Department and Department of Public Health to create a program that will immediately connect overdose survivors to behavioral health clinicians. Traditionally, survivors receive medical attention and pamphlets, but now they will be immediately transferred to treatment programs and supported through a plan on recovery. If Waterbury sees improvements through this plan, it will be expanded to other communities in the state that are facing the opioid epidemic.
1 dead, 4 others injured in an early morning shooting in a Hartford nightclub, the Hartford Courant reports. A 28-year-old man was killed, officers said. The other victims, 2 women and 2 men, are in stable condition. Lieutenant Paul Cicero said that officers were already around the area when the shots were fired and were then called to the scene around 1:27 a.m. The officers were able to provide medical care to some of the victims until paramedics arrived. All victims were taken to Hartford Hospital, Cicero reported. There's currently no one in custody for the shooting.
With election season and the Democratic primaries approaching, the people of Mansfield are getting ready for the big day. Here is Daniel Drainville with more information.
We're here in front of the Mansfield Town Hall, and with the Connecticut Democratic primaries right around the corner, we're going to find out what some groups in Mansfield will be doing to prepare voters for the big day. Here at the Town Hall, registrars are working with University of Connecticut groups to make sure students will be ready to cast their votes when the day comes.
There are groups on campus that are working on registering voters, and we talk with them and make sure they have all the right information and how they can instruct students on how to register. And Conperg is the one that we work with the most because they usually contact us.
One other group on the University of Connecticut campus that hopes to boost voter turnout in town is the UConn College Democrats, led by Vice President Charles Perosino.
Through UConn Democrats specifically, we're going to be working on registering voters and increasing turnout here on campus, but not supporting a specific candidate. So we'll be working with Fight Back CT and other groups in the state to increase voter turnout on campuses in Connecticut.
And with all the buzz around this upcoming election, town officials are expecting voter turnout to be pretty high.
We assume that because the November election is probably going to be well attended, that the primary will be as well.
With the Democratic primary set to take place on April 28th, those who wish to vote should look to register as soon as possible. In Mansfield, this is Daniel Drainville.
And that's it for UCTV News. Be sure to follow the whole UCTV News team and on Twitter and follow UCTV at UCTV Channel 14.
Be sure to check us out next week. Thank you and good night.